Welcome to a new episode of the podcast. Vox Agent is made by AI for business executives that work with AI. Today we're doing a deep dive. We've got some really compelling sources you shared with us, all about Anthropic's new AI coding assistant, Claude 4. Our mission, well, it's to unpack all of this, figure out what Claude 4 actually is, what it can do, and importantly, what it means for, the future of software development and for business. So get ready, because this sounds like it could be a pretty big deal.
Oh, it absolutely is. A big deal is right. What we're seeing with Claude 4, it really represents a significant leap forward in AI-assisted programming. This isn't just like a small update. It's a tool that genuinely promises to transform how code gets written. It offers these unprecedented capabilities in generating code and, supporting the whole software development process. The impact could be, profound for pretty much any organization out there.
All right, okay. Let's dive into what Claude 4 actually is. So we know it's Anthropic's 4th-gen AI assistant, launched pretty recently, May 2025. But you mentioned it's more than just one model. Tell us about the different versions.
That's right. Yeah, it's actually a family of models.
Okay, a family.
Yep. So first you've got Claude Opus 4. That's the big one, the flagship.
The most powerful one.
Exactly, the most powerful, built for, maximum performance on really complex coding stuff, long tasks. Anthropic's pretty bold. They actually call it the world's best coding model.
Right. And the other one?
That's Claude Sonnet 4. Think of it as the more cost-efficient cousin.
Okay, practical.
Yeah, practical. Optimized for, broader use cases, high-volume stuff. It still delivers what they call frontier performance, so it's really good.
Yeah.
But just, more practical for most everyday AI applications.
Got it. So Opus for the really heavy lifting, Sonnet for more everyday tasks.
You got it. That's a good way to put it.
That distinction's helpful. And speaking of Anthropic, they seem to have carved out a bit of a unique spot in the AI world, haven't they?
Yeah.
What's different about their approach?
Yeah, they really have. Anthropic, they were founded back in 2021 by folks who actually used to work at OpenAI.
Oh, interesting.
And their big focus, the thing that really sets them apart, is AI safety and reliability.
Okay.
They've pioneered this unique method they call constitutional AI.
Constitutional AI.
Yeah, and it's not just a buzzword. It's a systematic way they train the model to stick to explicit ethical principles. Think of it like giving the AI a constitution to follow.
Right.
Helps make sure it's helpful and harmless, and it really cuts down on problematic outputs. And with Claude 4, they've activated their highest level AI safety level 3 right from the start. So they're pushing capabilities, but, with a real commitment to responsible AI.
Okay, this is where I found it gets really interesting. You mentioned it's not just a quick helper. This thing has, autonomy, working for hours on complex tasks.
Yeah.
Tell us about that example, nearly 7 hours straight. That sounds kind of wild.
It is wild. It's genuinely a game changer for how AI fits into development. So in testing Claude Opus 4, it autonomously refactored code for almost 7 hours, continuously, without the quality dropping off.
Wow.
This example, it came from Rakuten's internal tests. And it really shifts AI from being just a, quick helper to more like a true collaborator.
Yeah, I can see that.
Imagine an AI agent just tackling a whole coding project over an afternoon, mostly on its own. That kind of extended autonomy, it comes from sophisticated memory management and its knack for using external tools smartly. It's a huge step towards AI acting like an independent agent, not just a chatbot reacting to prompts.
But it can still be fast for simpler things too, right? How does that hybrid reasoning work in practice?
Exactly. It's got this clever hybrid reasoning approach.
Right.
So for simple, straightforward prompts, boom, you get near instant responses, quick feedback.
Okay.
But when it hits a complex problem, something with multiple steps, it just switches into this extended thinking mode, allows it to sort of deliberate, plan things out, break down the problem more deeply. It's this dual approach that balances speed and depth really nicely, so you get fast answers when you need them, but it can also dedicate real thought to the tricky stuff.
It's like a good colleague almost. Quick answers, but can also go away and think hard.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
And the memory sounds incredible too. We're talking a 200,000 token context window. That's like 150,000 words. How does that help a coding assistant specifically?
Oh, that 200K window is massive. It means Claude 4 can basically read and reason about huge code bases or really long documents all in one go.
Right, the whole project's context.
Exactly. But it's not just the input size. It also uses what they call an external scratchpad and thinking summaries.
Okay, what are those?
They're kind of like Claude's own internal notes. lets it jot down and recall important details over these really long sessions.
Ah, so it doesn't forget things halfway through.
Precisely. It helps it maintain coherence, keep track of everything over potentially thousands of steps, which is crucial for tackling those big multi-file coding projects without losing the plot. It's a key innovation.
And it doesn't just think internally, it can actually do things using external tools, like web searches mid-conversation or running code in a terminal. That sounds very human-like.
It really does mirror how humans work more closely. Being able to dynamically call on external tools means Claude 4 can, check its own work as it goes.
So it writes code, then tests it.
Yeah, imagine it generates some code, then immediately spins up a secure sandbox terminal, runs unit tests on that code, sees the results, and then intelligently refines its own solution based on whether the tests passed or failed.
That's incredible. A self-correction loop.
Exactly. It's a major architectural advantage, and it directly contributes to why the code it produces tends to be more correct and why it's better at debugging. It's way more than just a code generator.
And the hard numbers, the benchmarks, they seem to back all this up. How does Opus 4 stack up against the competition?
The benchmarks are, pretty compelling. Claude Opus 4 scored between 72.5 and 72.7% on the SWE's Bench Software Engineering Benchmark.
And how does that compare?
Well, put it this way. OpenAI's GPT-4.1 scored 54.6%. Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro got 63.8%.
Wow, that's a big gap.
It's a significant lead, yeah. Not just a slight edge. It effectively makes Claude the world's best coding model, at least by this really important measure.
Yeah.
Those numbers show clear leadership in coding skill.
Okay, so we've got this wow factor. What does it actually translate to for businesses, in the real world? You mentioned early adopters are seeing big gains, things like 10x faster prototyping, 70% shorter time to market. That's huge.
It really is huge. Take Palo Alto Networks, for instance. They reported seeing a 20 to 30% increase in their code development velocity after bringing Claude 4 inches.
20 to 30%.
Yeah. Think about what that means. It's effectively like adding an extremely fast junior dev or maybe even 10 to your team, but without the whole hiring process.
Right.
That speed boost comes from Claude's ability to generate pretty robust solutions almost instantly and potentially work on different parts of a project at the same time. It can compress weeks of work into days, maybe even hours sometimes.
And it frees up the human developers too, right? Takes away some of the tedious stuff so they can focus on the bigger picture, the complex problems. I saw reports of teams shipping 3 times more features.
Absolutely. The whole workflow kind of shifts. Instead of that constant write code, debug, test, repeat cycle.
Yeah, the grind.
Exactly. It becomes more like describe what you want, the AI generates it, then you validate it. So human devs spend way less time on that initial coding and debugging slog. Frees them up for validation, creative design, tackling the really high-value strategic challenges. It basically multiplies what one developer can achieve.
But it's not just speed, is it? It's quality too. We saw reports like that startup Lovable finding a 25% drop in coding errors. Some even claiming 50% fewer bugs in production.
Yeah.
That suggests it's not just faster, but actually better code.
That's a critical point for any business leader, definitely. Claude 4's careful reasoning and that self-checking ability using its tools.
Right, the testing loop.
Yeah, that leads to solutions that are often more elegant, more maintainable. It's been trained on best practices, so it tends to write cleaner code, more idiomatic code, and it can even catch subtle issues a human might miss. The fact it runs its own tests means fewer errors slip through. That translates directly to higher code quality, fewer bugs later on. Huge win for efficiency and for customer satisfaction, too.
Okay, let's talk brass tacks then. Cost savings. Opus 4 might be pricier, but these efficiency gains sound like they're driving major cost reductions. Digital Applied claiming 60% lower development costs. That's a massive ROI.
It truly is. I mean, think about it this way. If you can boost your development output by, say, 30% with the same team size, that's basically like hiring more developers, but without all the overhead salaries, benefits, office space, you name it.
Good point.
Plus, Anthropic offers things like prompt caching that can cut API costs by 50, even 90% for prompts you use repeatedly, makes the economics even better for ongoing use. And we shouldn't forget the reports of 70% faster onboarding for new developers. The AI can act as this instant, always-on tutor that speeds up the whole team and cuts training costs too.
So putting it all together, where does Claude 4 fit in the crowded landscape? There are lots of players, OpenAI with GPT 4.1, Copilot, Google's Gemini, StudioBot, Microsoft's Code Whisperer, Meta's Codalama.
Yeah, it's a busy space. But what's fascinating here is Claude 4's strategy. It seems really focused on hitting that top-tier coding performance and those advanced agentic capabilities.
Agentic meaning acting more autonomously.
Exactly, acting more like an independent agent. It's not trying so hard to be a generalist model that does absolutely everything. That specialization is a key differentiator. So while, GPT 4.1 is a great all-rounder and Gemini 2.5 Pro has that huge context window and multimodal skills, Claude 4's lead on SWE Bench really cements its position as the specialist for coding.
So it's not trying to be everything, it's trying to be the best at code.
That seems to be the strategy, yeah.
And companies are noticing. I mean, GitHub, who obviously works super closely with OpenAI on Copilot, they're now putting Claude 4 models into Copilot chat. They specifically said Sonnet 4 soared in agentic scenarios and gave a 10% boost over the previous gen. That feels significant, right? Even OpenAI's partners seeing the value.
It's definitely significant. It shows that Claude's specialized strength is being recognized even by major players heavily invested elsewhere. And it's not just GitHub. Claude 4 is widely available now on AWS Bedrock, Google Cloud, Vertex AI.
Makes it easy for businesses to access.
Absolutely. That accessibility, combined with Anthropic's focus on security, compliance, performance, that's really driving its enterprise adoption, which seems to have risen sharply. Apparently, over 4,000 customers started using Claude on Google's Vertex AI within just weeks of it launching there.
Wow, 4,000.
Yeah, it shows strong interest, strong trust from businesses needing reliable AI for critical dev work. And it handles diverse stuff, advanced pair programming, those big autonomous refactoring jobs like Rakuten did, improving secure coding like at Palo Alto Networks. Its practical value seems pretty broad.
Okay, so looking forward, what does this all mean? And what are the catches? It's not perfect, right? Not 100% reliable, still needs humans in the loop. Developers need to learn prompting.
That's a really crucial perspective to keep. Claude 4 is incredibly powerful, yes, but it's designed to augment developers, not replace them entirely. It can still make mistakes, definitely, especially with really new or super specialized problems. So human judgment is still essential. You need someone to catch logical errors or maybe solutions that work but aren't optimal.
Right.
And yeah, developers do need to adapt, learning how to write clear, precise prompts to get the best out of the AI. That's a new skill, and it's still evolving.
And cost is a factor, too. Opus 4, the powerful one, it sounds expensive at scale, something like 75 per $1 million output tokens.
Yeah.
How should businesses manage that?
Yeah, cost is definitely a consideration. Enterprises will need to be strategic, maybe use the cheaper Sonnet 4 for more routine stuff, and save Opus 4 for the really tough problems where that extra power justifies the cost.
Mix and match.
Exactly. And like we mentioned, features like prompt caching can make a big difference, potentially saving 50 to 90% on repeated requests. It definitely introduces this new layer of resource management. Companies need to track token usage like they track cloud compute time, to make sure they're getting good value.
And then there are the bigger questions, the societal ones. Job displacement. If AI does more coding, does that mean fewer entry-level jobs? Pushing developers to upskill into prompting, oversight, ethics.
Yeah, the nature of the developer role is changing. It's probably less about outright replacement, especially in the near term, and more about shifting human focus to higher level tasks, creativity, supervision, strategy. But it does raise that critical question of accountability.
Right. If the AI writes bad code, who's responsible?
Exactly. Human oversight, rigorous testing, those become even more critical. You absolutely need those safeguards. And there are also valid concerns about data privacy, intellectual property, sending your proprietary code to an AI service, or the risk of AI accidentally spitting out code snippets it learned from licensed sources. Businesses need clear policies on that.
So if we pull back to the big picture for businesses, it feels like using tools like Claude 4 isn't just a nice extra anymore. It's becoming almost a competitive necessity to innovate faster.
I think that's increasingly the case, yeah. By automating so much routine work, it frees up your human brain power to focus on genuine innovation, strategic thinking, tackling completely new problems. That shift can dramatically speed up how quickly you release new features, new products, maybe even entirely new business models.
So companies need a plan. Pilot programs, training, new policies.
Definitely. Organizations that want to stay ahead need to be thinking strategically about how to integrate this. Pilot programs, training developers, setting up internal guidelines, it's all part of adapting. And that strategic adoption really can be a differentiator in the market today.
Looking even further ahead, continuous improvement seems guaranteed. The sources even hint at, near human or maybe beyond human performance on coding benchmarks, and maybe even 24-hour autonomous coding. AI is truly self-directed agents.
That certainly seems to be the direction of travel. AI is going to get woven even more tightly into every single part of the software development lifecycle. We might see entirely new roles emerge, maybe an AI DevOps engineer or something, or complex projects handled by multi-agent systems where different AIs collaborate. That could compress timelines even more dramatically.
Which could mean the whole focus shifts, right? Maybe less on writing the code itself and more upstream on specification, on design. Like developers might write in a new language, not code, but structured specs or tests, almost like prompt programming.
Exactly. The very definition of what a developer is will likely broaden, evolve. Core skills might shift towards being really good system integrators, validators of AI output. But it also democratizes things, potentially empowering smaller teams anywhere in the world. And maybe, just maybe, helping tackle that huge mountain of technical debt so many companies are sitting on. It's really about using AI to amplify human potential, take it to a whole new level.
So here's a final thought for you, our listener. With AI like Claude 4, software development might soon become more about what problems you choose to solve, rather than the sheer effort of writing the code. How will this shift empower your organization to innovate faster and in entirely new ways?
Yeah, Claude 4 really does feel like a pivotal development. It's offering real practical gains right now, today, but it's also clearly pointing towards a future with a much more AI-augmented workforce. Its capabilities are already changing how code gets written, tested, fixed, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
We definitely encourage you to explore how these kinds of advancements could accelerate your own projects, maybe reshape how your organization approaches development altogether. This deep dive has certainly given us a lot to think about. Thank you for joining the podcast, and see you soon.